What do you say, guys? John from Heavyset Tactical, aka Heavyset Knife Company. Have not done a discussion video on my favorite knives of 2024 for one reason and one reason alone. That is because there are too many knives in 2024 for my list. There's literally too many. So I am going to very quickly kind of show you guys. I'm going to start off and we're going to get an entire knife company in one lump sum out of the way because they have too many knives. And guys, some of you are not fans of Work Tough Gear, some of you are, but they had buku crazy drops in 2024. Now, some of the knives I'm going to bring up might be late 2023 or early 2025. I'm just kind of lumping them into 2024. So we're going to get Work Tough Gear out of the way because they had so many knives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 knives. Can't even get into it. So guys, real quick, during 2024, we had the Steadfast drop. I understand there's a lot of these left on the website. This was one of Work Tough Gear's greatest knives. And I know people might not think that right now due to, there's a bunch that are still on the website, and that surprised me. This is right in that very carryable size range that people really love and gravitate towards. It has a nice deep guard. This is one of the most comfortable handles beside the Red Wolf that Work Tough Gear even makes. So we have the Steadfast. That was a huge win. Calvin Richardson Custom Knives designed that. Then we have the Vic Lynn design. Vic Lynn is the owner of Work Tough Gear. Vic Lynn designed the Red Wolf, which is their single. I'm so torn. You guys know my favorite designer is Aurora Borealis. Second runner-up definitely is the V44X, and some new designs are coming from Well Regulated. Reese over at Well Regulated. He is just a super nice guy and draws up a hell of a design. But this is the Red Wolf. This one was in K329, I assumed. But it is one of the greatest knives Work Tough Gear ever made in that super, just like the Steadfast, in that very carryable size range. Guys, I'm telling you right now, this is one of the greatest knives Work Tough Gear has ever put out and probably ever will, because it is that good. The handle is perfected. The blade's perfect. It's like a camp knife that somebody put on steroids, so it's a little thick and overbuilt version of a great camp knife. And that just gives it longevity, let's be honest. I feel like this camera's kind of up here. I wish I was like there. So let me adjust it. What do you guys think of the stash? I've been rewatching Stranger Things. I was just talking to Peterbilt Knife Guy about that show. So I've been rewatching Stranger Things, and dude, Jim Hopper, and that badass stash, man, busting heads. I had to. Plus, Reese from Well Regulated, a friend of mine. So guys, this was a 2025 drop, but I have to say it. Oh my God. I know this is for 2025, but the Commander from Work Tough Gear, get out of here. Just get out. Get out. Don't even talk to me. Don't touch me. Don't look at me. Just get out. That good. Annoying. Amazing. Get away from me. That's 2025. I get it. Everybody calm down. Another early 2025er. The Puzon Wilderness Buoy EDC in N690 Cryo. Been carrying this thing for about a week now. Guys, it's awesome. It's comfortable in hand. It's light. It's a nice carry. It reminds me of the Reef Circadian a little bit. So, the last Work Tough Gear knife I will bring up, because there's like three more, and we're not even going to go there because I love Work Tough Gear. I think they provide a spot in the market for, if you can't afford a Reef F6, you can't afford an AK8, you can't afford a Bussy Team Gemini or Bussy Hellraiser. you can get something from Work Tough Gear for $200 that's in the same size range and just insanely good. These were, I think, $230. Like, what do you guys do? What are you doing? And they're in good, you know, not premium magnet cut or CPM steels, but they're the K steels, the tool steels are hardcore. Aurora Borealis, I salute you, brother. Guys, I've been talking to Aurora Borealis, and him and I are eventually going to collaborate on something, because I just love his designs. They're just universally loved, and I love them very much. They were what got me into Work Tough Gear. I was working third shift. Security at a rehab, a drug and alcohol rehab years ago. And I didn't even have my channel yet, but I had been collecting, buying, testing, doing all that stuff, just not filming it. And I saw the Kodiak drop for the first time. And that is what drew me to Work Tough Gear. I remember getting my first mountain lion and being like infatuated with it. It was a good time 2-3 years ago. So Aurora Borealis always has a special place in my heart. Now, yes, it's a plug for my own, because technically the first one I did was introduced in 2024. This is the Hunter, made by me. I have to come up with a better name for my knives, I know. But here's one I just finished up today in Nitro V. Micro-textured OD green handles, glass bead blast, and tumble finish. This one's in Nitro V. I will be making them with a larger blade in 3V and this size in 20 CV. Gonna do a whole drop with Badger Claw leather as the sheaths. So really, really love that. So, okay. Now that Work Tough Gear's huge amount of knives is out of the way, at the end we're gonna talk about folders briefly as well. Folding knives. So, honorable mentions, the H45, and I don't know why I said honorable mentions. I just mean these are great knives that are not as well known. There is a maker, Alex Drawn from AD Knives. Guys, go in Instagram and type in AD Knives. Excuse me, all one word. Yes, I just burped during my knife discussion video. And Alexander Drawn, aka Alex Drawn, D-R-O-N on YouTube. Guys, he posts a very short video showing you every time he finishes a knife for someone. A couple of mine are on there. This one's on there. This is his H45 in Magna Cut steel. I learned about him from Pete from Cedric and Ada channel. Guys, Alex Drawn is the man. This is my second knife from him. I can't wait to do a review video on this. I've been really falling behind with review videos on knives I bought to review because I get a lot sent to me. And I have the knife company and the shop and all kinds of stuff going on. So Alexander Drawn, Alex Drawn, AD Knives, whew, love them. So next up, I've had the Architect 3.5, the Architect 5.5, and guys, the only one I haven't had is the 6.5. That's weird. This didn't have any rattle in the sheath, and now it has a little bit. That's very strange. This is the Architect Knives AK8 in Magna Cut, and it's virtually unused. If you look at it, it looks unused, but I have gotten a good amount of use with this. I have to do a full review on it. I'm the worst. I always tell you guys I'm going to do these cool reviews, and then I get so sidetracked with the business and with this and that. Guys, Architect Knives also provides a piece of the knife world puzzle. They offer these awesome knives with beautifully done kydex. I know it's like machine-made kydex. It's, you know, these guys, when they make these knives, they'll take like a block of aluminum, and if you cut the knife profile in half, so you have the thickness of one scale and half the blade here, one scale and half the blade on the other side, you know, they'll essentially, if I were to cut this knife straight down the center line, right, and I put each half on the table, as in half the blade straight down and a handle scale on either side, Then they heat the Kydex with this machine. It'll heat a square piece of Kydex and suction it over halves of the blade, halves of the knife profile. Then they take those two and put them together, and you got perfectly made Kydex. I think that's what these guys are doing. Obviously, they're large batch Kydex, but it is so good. The thumb ramp is perfect. I'm not big on retention screws from any other company. Every other company that's done them, I don't like. And I hate that because I love White River, but their Ursus Cub, that's on my list. I don't like the retention screw, adjustment screw on it. But for some reason, this one just works. It doesn't add, and I'll explain a little more of that when I show you the Ursus Cub. Sometimes when companies do them, they'll do them too far down, like this long. So then you have a secured rivet up top, and then this whole triangle here of like differential pressure, different pressure and tightness here and here. And you could say, well, John, just slide it up till you get the same amount of pressure on either side. It just doesn't work that way. Sometimes it comes out funny, and sometimes you end up with a loose bottom, tight top, tight bottom, loose top. It just, it's kind of annoying. So I think I would prefer Kydex without it. Man, that was a stupid and pointless rant. So, AK8 in Magna Cut by Architect Knives. I'm telling you right now, this is a knife I bought in 2024, but I'm not sure if it was designed or came out in early 2024 or 2023, but one of the greatest knives I own. Thin, has the comfortability of an Essie handle, just amazing. And this is one of the only knives, I'll tell you, that the choil is just perfect. So Architect Knives literally killed it, and this is the greatest 8-inch bladed knife I own, hands down. So guys, I give credit where credit's due, and it just is that good. Next up, we're going to talk about a company that needs no introduction because Stu is just the man. Stu, who owns Reef Knives and comes up with their designs. I think there's probably some other employees that'll give input maybe, or maybe his main machinist does, but Stu's, as far as I'm concerned, is the owner and designer. Stu from Reef Knives designed this Circadian, and this is like the perfect handful. Guys, this knife was enormous this year. Go check out, for most of these knives, go check out Scab from Choir Boys Cutlery, Gabe from the Last Huntsman channel, Peterbilt Knife Guy, Jacob Peterson, Well Regulated. There's a bunch of people that had this knife and reviewed this knife. And guys, Stu from Reef Knives is one of those guys that had a newer company, and he was reached out to by guys like me and Gabe, who have under 10,000 subscribers. Gabe has many more than me subscribers, but it takes it. If you want me to give a lot of respect to a newer company, Stu didn't have millions of dollars. He didn't have a lavish shop and this and that. And he literally sent out some of the early prototypes and finished models for free to me and my buddies to test. And I know, he sent out a free knife and he got free advertisement on YouTube and social media. I understand that obviously it's not like he's just handing me $350. And he is receiving the publicity of me reviewing the knife. But guys, I don't have that big of a following. And I don't have that much influence or power. And from the gate, Stu sent me an F4, then he sent me an F5 and S5, then he sent me the Magna Cut F6 after I bought an F6, then he sent me a Circadian to review. He sent me a bunch of stuff to review. He's a good friend. When all that stuff happened with the company who shall not be named survive, Stu reached out and, kept asking if I was all right, if I needed anything. When I told him I was starting a knife company, asked me if I wanted to, needed help finding services for anything, if I was going to go with milled knives or what. Just a great guy and a good friend, and one of Texas's greatest. One of Texas's one of the greatest knife companies in Texas for sure. So you got the F6 in MagnaCut and the Circadian. The Circadian was the big front runner for 2024. I'm not sure if these were 2024. I think they were like, but the MagnaCut variant with a nice sharp spine, slightly different finish. This knife has scales from Lucas Carroll Custom Scales. Guys, go check out Lucas Carroll Custom Scales. Use the code HEAVYSET, all one word, all capitals, and that'll give you 15% off of your order with Lucas Carroll Custom Scales. Guys, the Reef F6 in MagnaCut has a nice sharp spine. It's a little different than the 3V version, and it's got this crazy nice Badger Claw leather sheath. Shout out to Badger Claw Leather. They just make great leather. And their Circadian was a killer knife. So, next up is one of Jacob Peterson's knives, guys. Jacob Peterson is a good friend, a solid American patriot. You know, he served in the armed forces, and you know, he takes honesty and transparency very seriously. And I've said to him before that some people can get really butthurt and really lash out and try to make an example out of Jacob, because he is very honest, brutally honest, and very direct. And sometimes people, you know, really don't like that. Or he might say something they really don't agree with, and he's not going. So guys, when you're arguing, right, you have two parties, two people, whatever, and they're arguing. There are a lot of people these days that when their argument, their point is not received well, and that person gets upset, they will say, well, you know, I didn't really mean it that harshly. I just mean that I don't like this. Or they might try to dull it down, that sharp point of their argument. Jacob is not going to decrease, you know, his argument. How do I say that? Jacob is not going to essentially back off of his point or argument just because you're upset about his argument. And that's something I respect about him. A lot of my buddies respect about him and like about him and his content. So Jacob, we salute you over at this household in this neighborhood. And guys, 2024, technically this is a 2025 variant. But 2024 brought us two knives. Guys, this has been out for a long time, for a couple years. But this version was early 2025. And I have another knife that was by Jacob that does drop in the 2024 category. Sorry about that, I had to run downstairs. Guys, Jacob's knives are always downstairs in my home. They are not up here in the collection because I'm always letting my dad carry them and use them, or me use them. Here you have two different iterations of the Jackalope. The original Low-Vis, that is a special coating that is actually like darker than black. It's like a muted color of black. With one of Jacob's own designed and manufactured beads that he got made, these lantern beads, super cool. I thought they were out of micarta at first, or G10 or something, but when I received them, they're actually like injection molded plastic of some sort, some kind of hard plastic. So they're not like chintzy, like plastic beads I don't like, but this has a little weight to it. This is the Jackalope. And the new custom Jackalope with gun bluing. This one's an S35, this one's an A2 steel with the gun blue and ivory G10 finish. Guys, what Jacob Peterson is doing is taking a super functional knife, and I'm sorry, especially that they're made by White River. White River does the OEM work on Jacob's knives. Jacob has a lot of input on them. He designed them. And guys, if I'm being honest, I always assumed that Jacob would be offering these knives for more money. And you might say, well, $200 for an S35 knife this size is a little steep, or whatever you want to say. But these are made by White River Knives. They're American made, American sourced. And guys, if there is one thing I will support to the detriment of my life, is American manufactured knives. I do have a lot of Chinese made stuff, and Taiwanese made stuff, like the Work Tough Gear stuff. So it's not like I just do American made. But guys, check out White River Knife and Tool. Guys, Jacob Peterson is a hell of a guy. He's a straight shooter. He served our country and fought for our freedoms. He gets a seat at my table at all times. And this was his big 2024 drop. This was a long-awaited knife. This was announced in like 2022, 2023 that he was going to do it, but it wasn't till 2024 till it actually came to fruition. This is the Mutant. Comes in a nice leather sheath. This is the Mutant, designed by Jacob Peterson, made by White River Knife and Tool, and it's what showed Jacob Peterson that A2 was the way to go, and this is what showed me a renewed interest in A2 tool steel, guys. CPM D2 and A2 tool steel. They are tool steels, they are high-speed steels, they are hard-use steels. I don't care if all you care about is edge retention. I am telling you that A2 still deserves a place at the table, just like any other steel. I think it's a lot better than D2. That's my results from my testing alone and my perception of the steels alone. But when Jacob said he was using A2 on the new Jackalope, I was tickled pink, because honestly, guys, if you go back and watch my hard use review of this knife, it did not bend or deform or crack or twist or lose its edge in some very brutal testing. So White River's A2, it's in 60 to 61 HRC, by the way. So I'm going to take one step back. The Reef Knives dropped the MagnaCut version of their F3 as well this past year. And guys, this is, I sold my CPM 3V version to Peterbilt Knife Guy. He's got some great content on it. Seems to like it. But the MagnaCut one, this is one of my most cherished little everyday carry fixed blades, and I will never part with this thing ever. Just love it. So next up, of course, you know I'm gonna bring up TRC Knives. Sorry guys, I have my phone, I'm using my phone on my stand right now, and when I have it flat, if I look at the lens, it's on the far left. If I'm looking at the center of the screen, this is the center of the screen, this is the actual lens. So, this is the TRC Polheim. Let me grab something, give me 2 seconds. A lot of you guys know I have an absurd love for TRC Knives. TRC Knives gives us the TRC Apocalypse, in my opinion, one of the greatest survival knives ever. And what started my love and respect for Udahome Elmax, this is the belt satin version, so it's very shiny. I just redid the belt satin with a 320 grit. This is the TRC Apocalypse in Elmax steel with their new leather sheath. Guys, DLT Trading, I think, has the leather sheaths. If not, go to Tools for Gents. That's where I got mine, and it came in like 3 days. So, TRC Knives, you guys know I'm a huge fan of. The Millie Curie, in my opinion, it does not have a lanyard hole, which I know a lot of people found very strange. Technically, you could use one of the body, the flared tubes. Guys, TRC, and this is the perfect example of me not doing knives that I buy to test on the channel. I haven't yet. I'm really seriously interested in checking out the Venatus 4 Extra. That's the steel that this is in. This is the Millie Curie, and it's one of TRC's greatest accomplishments. This one is the most comfortable, most beautiful, most perfect kydex, most amazing fixed blades that I think money can buy. These are very expensive. They're even more expensive than the TRC Apocalypse, and I understand why. The DLC coating, the milling, everything. And guys, they're using these tubes. You can screw those up. You can damage the handle scales. You can make mistakes doing that. A lot of people don't like that you can't unscrew the handle scales, but honestly, it doesn't bother me. These knives are just made so well. I have not had one come apart, and I'm not sure if they're ever going to use hardware. So that whole lead up was for this. You guys know I love TRC knives, and the TRC Polheim. This is the satin finish. It's from a newer drop. The older drop was a stonewash. That's the one I actually wanted, but this one looks beautiful. It is in CPM MagnaCut steel, and it is one of my most cherished knives. And this is going to sound so ridiculous. The only reason I don't carry it more is because I ordered a new belt attachment for it finally. I can't stand pocket fixed blades that stick that far out of my pocket. It's a little too big for a pocket fixed blade. I'd much rather, I live in Central PA. If I want to go to the grocery store wearing a Reef F6, I will. No one has ever given me guff about it. I've never gotten funny looks. I love being a country boy living in the area I do in southern Pennsylvania, southern Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I live in a small town called Millersville, and nobody has any problem with the stash or with the blades, and I love where I live. I grew up way down in the country, even more south than I am now, and had a really great childhood. Dirt bikes, four-wheelers, hunting, fishing, and making forts. And that's just... I still had some trouble in my youth, but I think that's what's wrong with this country. I think kids aren't making forts anymore and using their hands and learning lessons, If you think you're too tough, the neighborhood bully's going to punch you in the face, and you're going to learn that lesson, that humility. If you try to do something stupid and think you're untouchable and try to ramp your bike over a river and break 2 ribs landing on the handlebars, that's a lesson learned by me. You learn your boundaries, your abilities. You learn how to work with your hands. You learn how to, how to prepare for the cold when you're out playing in the cold. All these things that come into play, kids just aren't getting these days, and I think it's just terrible. So the TRC Polheim, my rant's over. The TRC Polheim is one of my most cherished knives, and guys, I got something really sick on the way that I wish was here for this video. So, another knife, I'm not sure when it dropped, I think it was 2024, is the Rainer Knives Fast Pack. It's not one of my favorites, but it's very ridiculously slicey. It's in LMAX. I think the hole for a bit driver is so stupid, and you can't even access it while the sheath's on, so you have to do it with the blade exposed. It's just stupid. But for such a tiny little necker or pocket fixed blade or appendix carry, this knife is fantastic. It's a full handful, just a nice little slicey, very well done edge. It's in Udahome LMAX Rainer Knives Fast Pack. So, where do we go from here? We go into another custom realm, and guys, this knife might have been 2023. I'm so sorry, Scab. But guys, it's going in my 2024 video. This is the CPM 3V Jed Hornbeak Custom CCK Choir Boys Camp Knife. This is in CPM 3V natural micarta handle scales. You can see the contouring on the scales. It has this divot right here, which is just, guys, I'm telling you, pay attention to Jed Hornbeak. No one could have, I say this all the time, no one could have pitched a knife of this size, this thickness, it's almost a 1/4 inch, with double fullers, a false edge swedge on top for piercing the tip, and that broad of a knife. From blade to spine, it's very broad. No one could have pitched this idea and had someone not turn their head and say, how are you going to make all that shit work on one knife? Jed Hornbeak did it, does it, gonna do it. Jed Hornbeak is one of my favorite new custom makers. This is one of the greatest, like, I've been using it as an everyday carry knife on and off for the past couple weeks. And this is one of the most comfortable, like, survival knives, but it's got that real broad from blade to spine. It's really, really tall. So that saber grind cuts like a full flat. So you can use it as a food processor on a campsite. You can feather stick with it. You can use it as a self-defense knife. You can use it as a chopper. He does this cutout for your pinky. It almost looks like a bussy knife from here back a little bit. So I was like, ooh, and dude, oh my God. You can put your pinky right in this nice groove here and have the most comfortable chopping handle, bird's beak area on any handle I've ever felt in my life. This knife is a knife that I purchased. It was like 500 and something bucks. Beautifully done coyote tan leather with, or Kydex with the leather wrap around it, belt loop attachment around it. Guys, I love when people incorporate leather on Kydex. I love it. This is one of the greatest fixed blades of my entire collection, and I could not be prouder to have it. So thank you, Jed. Thank you, Scab. The full review drops this week, finally. Finally. Okay, so I'm sure, oh man, I am such an idiot. Give me 1 second. Tell you what, guys, if you take a dictionary off your shelf and look up horse's ass, there's a picture of my face. I can't believe I almost forgot this. The maker of one of the best everyday carry fixed blades ever made. Yes, you heard it correctly. Yes, I don't want to argue. The Adventure Junior in Nitro V by Very Good Knife Company. I don't care what you think about the shape of the handle or look of the handle or the pinned in scales or anything anyone could critique. When you get this knife in hand, it is, my dad picked this knife up when I got it, and he said, holy shit. And I said, I know. And he said, holy crap. I said, I know. Because he said to me, he said, dude, this handle, it's almost like a raindrop shape that gets larger down here. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't look like it would be the same ergonomically as like the White River Ursus Cub, for example. This is a much more it's actually thinner towards the back, which I don't like about the handle. That's the only thing I don't like. It's not as uniform as like a regular knife handle. It's just a little bit differently shaped. So you might not think that, but I swear to God, guys, the Adventure Junior is one of the greatest everyday carry fixed blades on the planet. Literally ever made, hands down, period, end of discussion. Very Good Knife Company has been making these models for so long and is the shit. S-H-I-T. He is amazing. What he does with rudimentary steels and a slab of handle material, what he throws together is amazing. And he makes them fully by hand, just like my knives. Does everything in-house. This is the 2024 drop I was discussing. This is my buddy Gabe from the Last Huntsman channel designed this. It's a Sax style blade. This one's an 80 CRV2, and look at that. Oh my God, no rust. Guys, this is the Hawk by Very Good Knife Company, designed by Gabe from the Last Huntsman channel. And it's got some girth over the Adventure Junior. It's a little thicker in the blade, a little larger in the handle. And guys, I'm telling you, it aesthetically, it might not please some people. It might look a little funny. But when you put your hand on this knife and feel this grip, the comfortability, this nice sharp spine, that ridiculous, nasty claw talon of a blade, of a Sax style blade, This is one of the greatest everyday carry hard use fixed blades ever made. It's so functional. And again, a lot of people probably didn't buy it because aesthetically, unconventionally, it looks a little funny. It's a funny shape. And I told Gabe, you know what I mean? I looked at it and I thought it was a funny shape. And dude, it destroys. It is so slicey, so precise of a tip. That nice subtle drop gives you a nice place for your index finger to make drag cuts. Guys, this knife is awesome. I mean, like, you could use it as a tactical knife, you know, like a self-defense knife. You could use it as a hard use knife, as a bushcraft knife, as just a camping and pack knife. It just does everything, like, pretty well. So my full review on this, I never posted because I lost half the video, and I'm so sorry to my buddy Gabe for not posting a full review on it yet. That is right after the Hornbeak review. That is my next immediate action. This was another design of Gabe's. This was made by Very Good Knife Company, and this is another kind of unconventional looking blade. But guys, if you go back and watch my review, this is the Very Good Knife Company Huntsman. This one is in 80 CRV2. It's another one of those. It might look a little funny, a little bulky. One of the most comfortable handles I have ever felt on a fixed blade. Guys, there's something that Jacob down at Very Good Knife Company is doing with his handles that are just amazing. Really nice Kydex fit, just like all of Jacob's stuff. And just really, really functional. I had a blast reviewing this knife because of just how amazing it worked. It's like an 18-degree, super laid-back edge. Guys, his 80 CRV2 and Nitro V just has crazy good edge retention. So, another knife. This I got in 2024. This is a newer iteration of the Huntsman. Oh my God. The Hunter's EDC by Peterbilt. Oh my God. Sorry, I saw the P. Papa Bear Knives, aka Primitive Bear Knives now. This is an 80 CRV2. Most of his handles on these are textured, but I got one that wasn't. And I really, really love this knife. It's one that I kind of cherish and don't use much. Sadly, I don't know why I haven't been using it. I carry it. It's not that I don't carry it. It's so beautiful, and it's one of my favorite knives ever. Super comfortable. You can always get these from him. Mostly he's using crew wear. I think he's on to some Z-Tough and some other cool steels, but we can't talk about fixed blades in 2024 without talking about Primitive Bear Knives, and Alan is a good guy. So, now we're going to move on to folders, and this is going to be very brief because there's only a few that dropped. I got a lot of new folders, but the only ones that dropped in 2024 that are worth mentioning are on the table. So, guys, you know that I am a Les George fanatic. Les George has a newer company called Defiant 7. It's him and some kind of new blood, I guess, that he's kind of teaching these guys, and I think they're, anyway, that's what I think. I think it's like his side company, Les George's side company. This is the Les George Talos, but Defiant 7, Defiant, Defiant, number 7, is Les George's new side company, and they are hitting the bricks with some cool folders. They're a little funny looking to me, but like the Servo that came out this year. But there's a drop tomorrow of the Valmara, which is a really sick automatic folder by Les George and his new Defiant 7 crew. This is his Talos. This was a 2023. Ooh, this was a 2023 drop. It's an older model, but it's the version 2, I think. Version 3, version 2. This is the version 2. Dang it. I had it written down somewhere. But this is the MagnaCut Talos Morph Milled version 2. Guys, this is amazing. Just amazing comfort, amazing everything. I could go on for 20 minutes about Les George. He is my favorite knife maker. This is his 2024 drop. Guys, I might be saying 2023 or 2022 or something stupid. I mean 2024, obviously. This is the Mina, M-Y-N-A, the Mina in morph milled titanium, CPM Magna Cut steel. This is the greatest folder of 2024, hands down, period. No questions, no arguments. It is amazing. It's a full handful, nice full handful. You can choke right up on the blade, but have that nice deep guard. Look at how freaking deep that guard is. So deep. So that guard's going to protect your hand. You do have a point for piercing if you want to pierce, but it's a very functional, like real gradually laid back Wharncliffe or sheep's foot, whatever you want to call that. Wharncliffe, I guess. But guys, the Mina, M-Y-N-A, this is the greatest folder of 2024, hands down, no question. It has the best action of any folder that I might even have in my whole collection. It's not ridiculous guillotine drop, but it's just like one shake. It is the perfect knife. Just the perfect everyday carry. Shape of blade material. This thing will never rust because it's Magna Cut and titanium. Les George, I am your biggest fan, sir. God bless you. He is a veteran as well. Interestingly enough, the Shark Cub by Demco, this is like the light version in Oz 10 steel. Oz 10A steel, made in Taiwan. Gabe from the Last Huntsman channel sent me this, so I sent him a pair of 3 lightweight back. Guys, this thing is better than the premium version. The premium version in 20 CV is out in my car, so I'm not showing it. That one has aluminum scales and a black DLC 20 CV blade. This one in Oz 10 is a lot more comfortable and just the greatest little everyday carry folder ever. This is the slicer blade profile. It's got a slight dip here for your thumb. It's a fantastic everyday carry knife, and I have beat the shit out of it, and I love it. I think Grambo Knives. I was wondering what was wrong with this knife, why the action started getting funny. It lost the detent ball somehow. So I actually am sending it to my friend Derek, who I know from the Caveman EDC Facebook group, where I do a lot of buying and selling. He is a machinist, and Derek Page, I believe, and I'm sending this to him to put in a new detent ball, because that is, when you get into the high-end machinist stuff, that's a little out of my wheelhouse, if I'm being honest. So this is the Grambo Knives Russ, one of the greatest folders ever designed. Love this thing to death. The Russ EDC came out in 2024. It's just a slightly smaller version of this. So guys, keep an eye on Grambo Knives, G-R-A-M-B-E-A-U, Grambo. I guess he's Canadian. Then, big shocker here. Guys, I'm gonna end on this. This is technically my last knife. Guys, this is the James Brand Barnes that I got at the very beginning of 2024. I think it was a 2023 design, but I got it in 2024. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people are going to scoff at this because a lot of people want to discredit James Brand. James Brand, the James Brand, is making really, really overpriced Chinese-made, Taiwanese-made knives. And I think Riot does the OEM here. I thought it was Best Tech, but I think it's Riot. So Riot did the OEM on the James Brand knives, and I do not like any of his other folders, to be honest with you. But this one, it was super premium, super expensive. This is a $700 folder. And I have some Chris Reeves and some other things, and the Les Georges are expensive and whatever. But guys, I have to be honest with you. I know this is gonna ruffle some feathers in the knife community as far as the folder guys that might follow my channel. But guys, this knife it's an integral design, one piece of titanium. It's got a over travel stop on that triangular piece there, flat piece there. Dual thumb studs that are like a nuclear yellow kind of greenish hewn color. M390 blade, super nice and stout, thick blade. Guys, this has, and I know this is gonna, I know everybody's gonna hate this. Everyone really, really doesn't like James brand. They're very expensive. They're super overpriced. This is a folder that should have been 500 bucks, maybe 550 at the most. Anyone that's a serious folder lover and intricate milling lover will tell you that a lot goes into making these folders. This should have been a $550 knife at most, especially because it's Chinese made. But it is like it was like $650 plus tax is $685 plus shipping is almost $700. So it's about $200 overpriced, but if this is the greatest folder, one of the greatest folders I've ever owned and ever will own, period. And that's gonna annoy some people, but guys, it's just the truth. This knife is so perfectly made. I have not had to mess with the pivot one time on a folder, and I've had it for almost a year now. Just about a year now. It doesn't even look like I use it, and I have beaten the crap out of this thing. And they do, I'm pretty sure Best Tech or Riot did the OEM. Riot does this finish on these blades. Super cloudy ceramic bead blast or Zerblast finish type on the bevel. And on the flat is a belt satin. And guys, it does not wear or scratch. I have no idea how. I have cut inappropriate things with this knife. Things I should have definitely used a fixed blade for, and it doesn't mark up. So I can't lie. I haven't touched this knife for a while because I've been on such a Les George kick. And it came back to me this past 2 weeks, and I've been carrying it and using it quite a bit again because this knife was worth every penny to me. I think it's one of the greatest folders ever made. The action has not changed since the day I got it. The edge has not diminished in sharpness since the day I got it. It is fantastic. So guys, that was my big rant for the evening, almost an hour-long video and discussion. And guys, I can't thank you enough for your support with the knives. All my dad and I have ever wanted. I got in a lot of trouble and was really stupid when I was younger, and got a DUI and just dumb petty stuff. And as I got older and started to smarten up, the only thing I consistently ever actually wanted in my life was enough money to pay the bills by running a business with my dad. He retires this year and is we're making that dream come true. I'm kind of the, if you will, the brains and skills behind the operation, and he's more the management, but he wants to get into the skills and learn the skills with me. So he retires at the end of this coming year, and in about maybe 8 months, I think, 9 months, and him and I are going to launch my knife company straight up in the air and just have fun with it and make handmade fixed blades. Yes, I know it's a shrill, it's a plug, but this is the Hunter. Very beautifully done Nitro V blade. 61.8 HRC was around where it came in at. My plunges have been getting good. My handle design is very, very comfortable and very neutral. Should work with just about any hand, large or small. Very comfortable. I do blast my hardware to match my blast and tumbled finish, glass blast, and I do quite a job on the handles. I do micro texturing by really harshly blasting them with a slightly lower PSI in my blasting cabinet, and it gives them this little stippling and just great texture. So my knives are very good for being a newer knife maker, in my opinion, and they're only going to get better. So guys, thank you for your support this year. Big things are coming this year, and this is technically my first quote-unquote dropped design, and it was in 2024. So I get to add my humble first design into the lineup of cool belt knives. Guys, my knives offer free sharpening and free repairs pretty much for life. And if it's something that monumentally failed, like let's say I got a bar Magna Cut that had a big void in it somehow, and you were using the knife and it cracks right in half. If you send it to me, I'm gonna send you a new knife. I'm gonna fix it for you. So guys, all my knives are handmade and heat treated by me, start to finish, just from scratch, start to finish. I touch every piece of the knife and do everything in-house. And that for me is a huge accomplishment and has been very fun. So thank you guys so much. Thanks Stu from Reef Knives. Thank Vic Lynn, who owns Work Tough Gear. Thank Les George. Thank Jacob Peterson. Thank TRC Knives. Thank Demco. Thank Grambo. Thank Jacob down at Very Good Knife Company. He's a hell of a guy. Went through a hell of a lot with the move and is bouncing back with authority. And thank you to Jed Hornbeak. So, guys, check out Jacob Peterson's new iteration of the Jackalope. It is freaking amazing. It's beautiful. It's elegant. Has nice grip, nice profile. And it's an A2 tool steel, best $200 EDC knife you can find. Thank you guys so much for watching. And those of you that made it to the end of the video and actually watched the whole thing, thank you guys. I definitely can't thank you guys enough for the support. And me and my dad are going to continue having fun and making knives. So thanks, guys. Have a good night.